Hey everyone, and welcome back to Gearblocks. Last video I started updating transport truck, my normal conventional truck that I built long ago, because with recent updates we've got some new parts that would make this a lot better. I'm not sure if I want to kinda just do coilovers, or if I want to put leaf springs on it. Guess I'll just do coilovers for now. Wow. Chassis is really narrow. A bit narrower than I thought it was. But then again, this truck's also pretty wide. How wide is this compared to this 6x6? Yeah. Quite a bit wider. And I thought that was pretty wide. So. Either way. I think the last episode I finished off with the front suspension. And this thing has so much suspension travel in the front, it's crazy. Look like that. Look at that. Without the coils in it, that's crazy. That's because all of the links are so long. And then the rear end is just simple. Why is that not dropping down though? It is, it's just being weird, okay. Yeah, I'll keep the rear end the way it is, because I like how well this works. But, I don't really know what I want to do with the front end. So like I said, for now, I'm just going to... That should be steel. I'll just kind of stick everything on the bottom for now. Or not put everything on the bottom. Just use the normal coils, but I'm gonna have to use the heavy duty coils. So, I don't know if it'll work with it, being right beside the lower link like that. Yeah, that should be fine. It's so low. Like, the proportions of this truck are actually kind of weird. I should probably lower the front bit of the frame rail. But then again, the rear bit of the frame rails are also a bit higher. I made this the middle part lower so I could put like suspension on the cab and stuff. So maybe I'll just keep it like that. And then I'm actually going to, instead of doing this, since there's no axle through the axle housing, I can just do that, it'll be fine. And then I need to make it look like it's actually has a strong mounting point. I like making things at least look like they would hold the weight. So I'm going to Oh, I thought that was lower than it is. By the way, I'm still going to do this. Just do that kind of thing, so it looks like it's actually supported properly. And then the front of this doesn't have to hold a whole lot of weight. Mainly the engine and the chassis and body and stuff. It's mainly the rear wheels. That's another reason I put my fifth wheel right in between the rear wheels, because then the rear wheels take majority of the weight of the trailer. But if I lock all of this, I can take it off, copy it, that one back on, and then just rotate that, and it should go on the other side, no problem. just like so. And that should work. Oops, I forgot about the pin. There we go. Need to stiffen them, but it's not a big deal. I also need to put a sway bar on it. Let's go to 75 and 100 for now. How do I want to do the sway bar? I could just bring it up on the inside of coils. And then bring it to like right here or something. One goes there. Then we put these. Actually, again, I'm just gonna use this one as it's less parts, keeps it more simple and lighter. Hate when it does this. Okay, that one goes there. And this doesn't really move. So that'll be fine. And even when it's cycling the suspension up and down, this will move away from it. And then there's nothing that'll hit, so it should be fine. Other than maybe the tie rod. But I'm not really worried about that. I also used the wrong part because I like having the ball end on the axle. Here we go, okay. Then we grab the socket axle. I guess I shouldn't have deleted the other one. Ooh, that's not in the greatest place. What is that supporting? Steering. Okay. Wonder if there's a slightly different way I can do that. I could just keep it a bit lower, since it only has one block of movement in either direction. So that should be fine. Go. Lock all of this together. Duplicate it, so I can put it on the other side. Come on, there we go. Righty. Get these to the right size. Put the torsion spring there, set it to, I'm feeling 7. And then I need to grab a half round. Ooh, there we go. Now we have a front sway bar. And that should work perfectly fine. I'm gonna grab the pin again just so I can see when it drops. Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Oh my god, stop it. Cool. I am happy with that. And if need be, if I want to put a really big engine in it, I can still lower the frame rails. This was originally built to be electric. It had 4 of the large electric motors, but I would like to change it to a normal engine. Speaking of which, I'm working on a new one with leaf springs, and it has a W24. So, if I can fit it in that one, I will. It also has a bit of an automatic gearbox that I've been kind of testing, but it doesn't work quite how I want it to. It works, but it's not shifting all the gears properly. So let's pull this off, because I'd like to have this thing just have tons of power. This thing has 4,000 peak torque, whatever their measurement is. And this had 4 of them. So that's what, 12,000 torque? I don't know if this is going to get anywhere near that, but it would be cool. And I should be able to just put it in like so, even right where it is. That gives me just enough room for a radiator. I've still got the fan. I do need to change this though. I put this on it just to kind of act like an air intake kind of thing, but they don't do that. So I'm just going to remove this. I should be actually like deleting these pieces, not just moving them. I keep hitting the trackpad with my thumb and it messes me up. But yeah, this truck also has underglow, because why not? Alright, so there's the front bumper. I kind of would like to remove this gap in it, but that's because of the hood. Just make sure that doesn't touch on either side. Nope, we're good. And now I've got a little bit more room down here, so I can put this wheel back on too. Alright, so I guess this is now powered by a W24. And there's still lots of room under here. Wow, okay. I would like to remove this belt as well, but because of the side of the hood, don't really have the space to do so. I also don't like that, but we now have, what is that, aluminum? We now have these plates. We didn't have these plates when I first built this thing, but now if I go like that, it'll actually look proper. That one is fine. I did this just to kind of act as a way for air to flow through and get out. If I bring it forwards like that, yeah, I kind of like that. Let's do it on the other side, see how it looks. Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than having that on there, kind of over and down the way it is. I like this look a lot better. I would like the headlights to be back by a block, but then you won't be able to actually see them. So I guess I will leave them the way they are. And I'm also not entirely sure what I'd like to do for the gearbox, because having 2 3-speed gearboxes in this, it works, but it's not the greatest. And especially with having this engine in it, it needs to be a little bit different. Need like a proper reverse and whatnot, and I need to change these cross members. Okay, so the engine mount is fine, although it kind of clips through the alternators and stuff just because of how this engine is. I need to take... Okay, I think that's all. And then I am going to just remove these gearboxes. Boxes of gears. I don't know why I say gearbox M now. I used to always say transmission. Because, at least where I am, that's what it's called, a transmission. But gearbox makes a lot more sense. At least to me, it does. Okay. Ah. Really? What is stopping me from pulling this out? These should all just come out as one piece. But it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Oh. It's not locked anywhere now that I can tell. Oh, there we go. It was. So yeah, that's the gearbox setup that I originally used for this. It's the 3-speed that I originally built for the Peach, which isn't... Oh, there's the weird looking Peach. But it's just a super basic 3-speed that I made to be as compact as I could before I started using the script mods. So there's no like glitches or anything stuck inside each other kind of thing. That should have come off as well. So I've got all of this space now to figure out how accurate of a gearbox I can build. The one thing I did like about this is it allowed me to kind of have like shift levers that came up through the floor. But I want it to be a bit more realistic. The spacing on some of these things is just kind of weird. I would also like to finish the lower part of the fenders as well. I'll put the fuel tanks along here. I would also like to change how frame is. I'm gonna grab a fuel tank and see what kind of space I have to work with here. Oh, it can fit there. Okay. And if I put it there, other than clipping with the spring for cab, it will fit there. Okay, that's good to know. The frame is also lower than the axles on this, which I don't like. So, I'm thinking of... Ooh, that's gonna mess up with this a little bit though. I'd like to raise the lower part of the frame up by a block, as I typically like to have the frame in line with the axles, but it's in line with the front one because it's a bit of a drop axle. This is one reason I have such a hard time doing videos on this, is I do a lot of just looking and thinking to try and figure out what I want to do. Oops. I kinda would like to also move this middle link, especially with how much space I have. I've also been thinking of doing a video on the orientation of these and whether it's better to have them at the back of the axle or the front and so on. I would also really like to switch this over to leaf springs, but I'd also like it to be able to act as if it's on air ride, which means I would have to do some kind of lever system with a piston. Maybe I'll do that in the next episode, or after I get the drivetrain done. I'll try and make the ride height adjustable. And I can make this bit narrower now. There's just so much I can do now that I know the game better and there's more parts and so on. So I'll leave it like this for now, just so I've got the extra space. I'm just not sure what to do about the gearbox, because for a while I would use the 6-speed that Laws made, but one of the recent updates broke it, and it doesn't work anymore. I could just, this thing. It worked really well when it worked, but unfortunately it doesn't anymore. I could use just the clutch gears like I usually do, like with this thing. That's got the automatic in it. Why is that in the ground? And that should be attached, I think. Yeah. A little off topic at the moment. But that is supposed to be like that. By the way, in this, as you can see, I just used the clutch gears, and then there's 2 gears in each spot. So even though I moved one, it's still like that. So it'll actually handle and transmit the torque properly. But I don't like doing that because it just doesn't transmit the torque properly. Like, the engine basically just constantly revs to its max RPM limit, and it sucks doing it that way. So I want to try and have proper physical gears somehow. I wish we had gears like they have in Lego. With Lego, there's gears you can get that you can also put like synchros in between, like an actual gearbox, and it would let you make an actual gearbox. But I could also use this. It's an automatic 4-speed. It does work, but not very well, unfortunately. So I'll likely just end up using my typical typical 4-speed. I wonder if this would work. Because this does work also. But, again, not the greatest. And I don't remember which side is in and which side is out. And the clutch is way up here. And I don't want to put a tonneau in, or tunnel, whatever, in the cab. I want the bottom of the cab to be flat. So I'm gonna have to drop this down somehow. Likely just with a couple beams. Why can I not? Oh, because that's got a... Okay. Can attach it there. And if I do that, I could use two 16-tooth gears, I think, to drop the output down. Oops, let go. Why did it go there? So much space and I don't know what to do with it. I would also like to have an extra support for that. But again, the cab is in the way. I wouldn't mind putting a small notch right in the front of the firewall, but I would really rather not. So I'm just going to do this for now. And once it's properly working again, I'll come back and change it up a little bit. Yeah, I have no idea what to do for the gearbox. So I'm actually going to end this video here. I know I didn't really get much done today, but at least I kind of thought some stuff out. If anyone watching this knows of a good gearbox design that does not use clutch gears, something that has actual normal gears meshing together like this, but more compact and just better, because like I even have my own kind of sequential 6-speed, but it's big, it's bulky, and it doesn't really stay in gear. This thing likes to go in between the gears. So yeah, just I don't really know what to do, so maybe someone can suggest something. So I'll show with this really quick. Oops. If we get in and watch the attack, I put it in first. Why is it idling like that? It shouldn't be idling like that, but whatever. By the way, if I hit throttle, it's just gonna go right up to 3,000. And it pretty much just stays there. And it drives me nuts. It's got lots of power, but it just, the gears and clutches and stuff can't handle it. And I don't know how to make it so they can, other than using multiple like I am. This thing is not happy right now. What is going on? Either way, that is going to be it for today. Hopefully in next week's episode I can make some proper progress on it. Hopefully by then I'll figure out a proper gearbox, but I haven't figured that one out yet, so either way. As usual, if you have any tips, tricks, questions, anything you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. It would be nice if this thing was working properly. But whatever. Okay, bye-bye.